Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's expanded class on our YouTube channel. And we are at the time of this recording, just a couple of days out from Valentine's Day. And so I thought that would be a really great time to talk a little bit about the concepts of soulmates and twin flames, and more specifically about the spell work that people do to bring those about. Now, I've been a professional witch for going on 20 years now. And during that time, I've worked with literally thousands of people. And a good many of them have love interests. That's a really common theme. And sometimes they really are working hard to bring their soulmate to them. Or they met somebody they perceived as their soulmate and the relationship didn't work out, but they just know that they are tethered to this person, that this person is a piece of them. So they keep trying to get that person back, and they want me to help them do that through magic. So what I want you to think about is that by the time they get to me and have the, I guess, desperation to go seek out the village witch, this situation has escalated. They're pretty deep into their feelings. And so that's going to be the springboard for the rest of this presentation, because we're going to talk about what those feelings do, and we're going to talk about how it affects magic, and we're going to talk about how soulmate and twin flames magic specifically unfolds most of the time. So let's get to it. So our official title is Soulmate and Twin Flame Spells. Why Faster Backfires. The cosmic attraction, magnetism over manipulation. That's our PowerPoint. Goodbye. Just kidding. So twin flames and soulmates. These are buzzwords that have been around for quite a while. Soulmate longer than twin flame, if I'm not mistaken. And people want this, and there's a reason why they want it. We all have a desire to be with our person. I won't say all. Some people are real loners. A lot of people, most of us, have a desire to be with our person, that place where we just fit and where we feel completely at home and completely accepted and totally loved unconditionally. It's a really big drive, and that makes perfect sense. And honestly, the older we get, sometimes the more intense that drive gets to be. So let's look at the definitions of soulmates and twin flames. Now, soulmates, now I want to be clear. I want to preface this by saying this is my interpretation based on many, many, many conversations with other practitioners and materials, academic and practical, that I've read, and just a general consensus of the people I have interacted with of what a soulmate is and what a twin flame is. You may believe something different. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying that this is the definition that I have worked under for these words, and that a lot of other senior practitioners that I know have worked under as well. So soulmates. We think of soulmate as being your person, and that immediately translate over to being your romantic person, that one person you're meant to share your life with. But we got to back up a little bit, because the energy of a soulmate means it's somebody from your soul family, your soul tribe, that you are destined to meet up with throughout your life at some point in order to complement one another's lessons and enrich each other's lives. Now, by that definition, your soulmate might be your mom. Your soulmate might be your fifth grade teacher. Your soulmate might be your son, or it might be your partner. But the soulmate is just one of those people that you feel that instant connection to because they're part of your tribe. And you might be in a crowded room and look across the way and say, oh my gosh, I've got to meet that person. That's one of my people. It's just that inner knowing that this is somebody very important to you when there is no external support or evidence to back that up. It's just that inner knowing. So that's what a soulmate is. A soulmate is to create learning experiences and, again, enrich the lives of each person involved. So soulmate is coming at you with a predestined mission. And sometimes that mission is to teach you lessons, and lessons are sometimes taught in uncomfortable ways. So you might have a soulmate, somebody you know and you're really connected to, but their job in this life is to teach you how to set and maintain healthy boundaries. And they teach you that through you learning to say, no, I'm not going to buy into this anymore. You have to go. And that was their role in your life, was to get you to have the balls to end a relationship or to put up a boundary and stand by it. Sometimes they teach you to be patient with yourself. Sometimes they teach you a new dieting technique. There can be all sorts of things that a soulmate is meant to teach you, but they came into this world for you to teach them something and them to teach you something in this symbiotic connection. So that isn't always comfy. That isn't always sweet, but there is always a familiarity when you meet them. That's the soulmate. The twin flame, on the other hand, has the theory that a single soul split apart into two souls and continually looks for that other part of the soul so that they can be whole again. Now, already that theory is starting out kind of psychologically disturbing because you are whole as you are. But there's this inner drive to find that twin soul that you know is missing. And so this creates intense urgency. And there is an immediate recognition in most cases and a white hot connection that will often burn out. But that's the twin flame thought. And there are good aspects and bad aspects to each of the soulmates and twin flames. It ain't all roses and chocolates and puppy dogs. There are challenges to them as well. So having those definitions in play, my job with this class is to talk to you about the energy of soulmate work and the energy of twin flames work and what often trips that up or why it might not be a good idea to do that kind of work. I'm not saying people don't deserve love. You absolutely deserve love. If you want that in your life, you deserve to have it. I'm talking about a specific type of magic that is very different than casting a wide net and saying, I'm here, I'm open, I'm ready. Bring to me the love I'm supposed to have right now. Bring me love. I'm going to radiate love and welcome love into my life. That's one type of magic. This type of magic specifically says, I have a soulmate / twin flame that I am destined to meet at some point in my possibly very long life. I want it now. I want that soulmate to come to me now. And so they come to me and say, I want you to do magic to bring my soulmate to me right now. We're going to have an add-on to this magic. I want to be able to recognize that person as my soulmate immediately. I want to know who they are, and I want them right here in front of me, or I want that connection with them right now. So on the surface, that seems okay because, quite frankly, in magic, we can ask for anything we want to. Magic is only as good as the resistance that it hits. And the reason for that is that when magic energy hits resistance, the energy has to use some of itself to burrow through that resistance to get to the goal. At which time the remaining energy, because you can only put so much energy into a candle, goes to the goal. If we've got more resistance, we have less energy going to the goal. So ideally, we want to meet a goal with as little resistance encountered as possible. So what happens with this soulmate twin flame thing? Like I said, by the time a person gets to me, they're pretty fraught. They were out there on the market. They've done dating. Nobody's stuck. They've maybe been married and it didn't work out and now they're really lonely. They could have lost their partner to death or to divorce, and they've been celibate for a while and now they just really want to get out there again. There can be all sorts of reasons why they feel an urgency to expedite this soulmate thing. And we're going to talk about some of those here in just a minute. But what I want to say is that urgency creates a desperation. And it is very chancy to go into magical spell work from a position of desperation. Desperation draws in desperation. Like attracts like in energy work. That's why we say dress for the job that you want. That's why we say act as though it already is, because like attracts like. And so desperation in finding a soulmate, it'll end up that, a soulmate. Desperation in finding a soulmate creates desperate circumstances because that's the energy you're injecting into your work. So we've talked about the definitions. Let's talk about the jam that happens where everything collides, the collateral damage or the potential collateral damage, the mechanisms of the spell that people often don't think of. Through the idea and the theory of soulmates and twin flames, it doesn't matter. It's not a factor if you're never going to meet that soulmate. So it stands to reason that there's a plan, either a universal divine plan or some sort of divine theory or matrix, or you had a pre-birth agreement with this person to meet them at a certain time or a certain place in your life. And so that is a predestined thing to happen when it's going to happen. The idea too often is that we only have one soulmate. And I don't believe that's true. I think we have several soulmates. And I think some of them are romantic. That doesn't mean we're going to be with them our whole life. It means they were meant to hold a role in our life, at least for a period of time. So we have a soulmate out there in the world somewhere. We have a twin flame or whatever you want to call it out there in the world that we're supposed to meet down the road, but we want it now. We want that soulmate brought to us now because we're lonely, because we're ready, because we waited a long time. We're tired of waiting. We want that soulmate. What do you think that's going to look like? So we're going to use the Seattle to London problem. Let's say that you are in London and you've set up this great life. You've got a wonderful flat. You're making money. You love your life. You're in the hustle and bustle of London. You're in the middle of all this history and you just want to share it with somebody. And that's what you're thinking. You feel like you're ready. And so you say, I want my soulmate now. Bring my soulmate to me. And you innocently do that magic to make that happen. But then what happens on the other end? Think about what that's going to do to your soulmate. The presumption is right now we're talking about a soulmate, a person that is supposed to meet you arbitrarily, let's say in 5 years. They're supposed to meet up with you, cross paths in 5 years, lock eyes and say, oh my gosh, you're the one in 5 years, but you want it now. Where is that person in their life? What are they doing? How much have they healed from their traumas? So what if they're in the middle of a 3-year lease on their home? What if they're married to somebody else and have a child? What if they have just lost their wife to cancer in a horrible ordeal and they're grieving? What if they were abused in a previous relationship and they're still getting help for that? They're still in therapy. They're healing those wounds, but you want them by God right now. That's the problem. So they are going to leave Seattle because you demanded it magically. The idea, if your spell work is successful, is they are going to just shit can their life in Seattle. They're going to break that lease. They're going to lose their job. They're going to blow up their marriage. They're going to come to you not healed of those last traumas and move to London because they met you online and think you're amazing. You are going to get a damaged person, a person who is so distracted and fraught in major fight or flight, rather than that optimized person you were going to get in 5 years. When we do soulmate magic, it does very real things to the person on the other end. And we must, as responsible practitioners, take that into consideration. We don't know what their life is doing when we summon them to come to us, go out hunting for them. We don't even always know for sure if we are ready for them. There could be things we don't know that hasn't surfaced yet. So we have to consider whether or not we are prepared and they are prepared when you don't even know who they are to make that journey. I'll give you a real good example. I happen to have the privilege of being married to my soulmate, and I have been married to him for almost 30 years. And I adore him. He adores me. It's all great. We have a wonderful family. But he's 15 years younger than I am. So what if I had done spell work in my 20s to compel my soulmate to come to me? Would I be babysitting him? You know, that wouldn't work out, would it? What if he's incarcerated? What if he is in a coma in a hospital, or she? There's lots of reasons why your soulmate may not have interacted with you yet or intercepted you yet that are insurmountable issues, or are going to bring you a less than healed person, and the relationship ends up collapsing because they weren't ready and you weren't ready to deal with them not being ready. So that's the Seattle to London problem. What we're talking about here is resistance. And like I said, spell work is only as good as the resistance that it can get through. Not even the resistance it hits, the resistance it can get through. That's also called energetic friction. What is pushing back or slowing down our energy? When we are trying to pull somebody in, it's kind of like a bungee cord. We are pulling really, really hard to get somebody up on the bridge after they've jumped. And we're tugging and pulling. So we've got their weight. We've got the weight of the distance. We're trying to pull them in from somewhere else. It takes a lot of energy to do that. And everything on their side, their family, their job, their home, their goals, their health, all of those considerations are anchors that they're holding on to on the other end to keep from coming to you, because they're invested in those things now. That creates so much more resistance to the work that we're trying to do. That is our energetic friction. So we get this weird whiplash thing going on where we do this super high octane spell because Katrina said it's going to take a lot of energy. So I'm going to work this spell nonstop for 3 days and 3 nights, and I'm going to bleed into it, and I'm going to say all these perfect incantations, and I'm going to light all the most expensive candles, and we're by God going to make this happen. So you're doing this intense work, this intense magic, and you put all that energy and power out there to compel this person to blow up their life and hightail it to you. That is a crash waiting to happen. That is resentment waiting to happen. Like we said before, there's the mirror trap that desperation attracts desperation. Another thing about the twin flame theory that I want to talk to you about is, remember, the theory is it's 2 souls that were once 1 soul. You know that thing about how you criticize in other people what you don't like in yourself? That's one of the lessons of twin flames, is that these people are very similar, and you're going to see some of the same traits in this person that you don't like in yourself, and it's going to get the hell on your nerves. So that's another little gift that the twin flame theory gives. I'm not just trying to shit on twin flames and soulmates. Really, I'm not, because it's amazing when it happens, but it has to happen at its own pace. What are some red flags we're looking for? What are some misalignments? Too many people come at this kind of spell work like they're standing at a vending machine and they just put their dollars worth of quarters in. Where are my Cheetos? I want them right now. Why didn't they fall? And they do the spell work, or I do the spell work for them. And they're sending me an email the next day. He's not here yet. This ain't Amazon Prime. He's not just going to usually drive up and get dropped off in a little package on your door. This stuff takes time because, again, you have to orchestrate changes in your life, changes in their life, so that can all come together frantically almost sooner than they were supposed to. There's this urgency put to it because we're now booting it up by 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is. And we can't know when we were supposed to meet them. Maybe we were going to meet them in our 70s. We don't know how fast we're speeding all this up. But yeah, people are there like it's a vending machine. I did my ritual. I lit my candle. I paid you to light my candle. Where's my person? Why aren't they here yet? And I literally have people working for years trying to bring in a soulmate. And they're just completely frustrated that it's not happening. And it's not happening because it just isn't time yet. Another thing that is a problem with this type of work is some people are trying to manifest their soulmate because they need a savior. They're in an unfulfilling marriage or relationship. They want to leave. They want to have a better life, but they're not willing to leave the security, relative security of this broken relationship and be out on their own for a little bit, compromising their quality of life in order to prepare for this person to come. They want this person to come and save them. They want this person to come and be the catalyst that pulls them out of that broken relationship. They still live at home at 26, and they want their soulmate to come prepared to financially support them and give them a good launch in life. So they already have a job for this soulmate beyond just loving you and accepting you and being present for you. So lots of people doing soulmate work, they have to evaluate their motive. And sometimes that motive is that they need somebody to save them. What you want to do instead, you want to check your landing pad. You're pulling this person in. Pay attention to what you're pulling them into. Are you a hoarder? I mean, be real honest with yourself. Are you still broken from stuff your mom and dad did? Are you a workaholic right now because you're trying to build your life and financial security? Do you have room in your life, in your heart, in your bandwidth, in your mental framework to bring somebody in? If your life is too cluttered to have somebody in it, that's going to complicate that soulmate reach and bringing that person in. So those are some of the red flags to look for, some of the misalignments that can occur. So, told you all the scary stuff, right? I told you the different ways that you're blowing up somebody's life by doing soulmate work. Now, I'm going to guess, this is just arbitrary, I'm going to guess that 1 or 2 times in 100, it works out. And I honestly believe that the soulmate work that does bring it right away was ready to happen anyway. That soulmate was already in London and having an idea that maybe they wanted a partner. So they were ripe and ready for that. But I think that's a very sliver of the spell work that's done that turns out that way. And that's just based on what I've seen over and over and over and over with people. So here's what we want to do. Stop being the hunter. Stop going out there and sifting the crowds for your soulmate. I know people who are absolutely feral about this. I'm only going out to this one event for the next 3 months. So my soulmate must be here in this event. So I'm just going to look. Is it him? Is it her? Is it them? Is that the person? Is that the person? Just trying to connect with somebody as their soulmate, like it's, 1:59 at the bar and it's closing. You want to be calm about this, not frantic and not desperate. You're not the hunter. Be the lighthouse instead. The lighthouse doesn't go out onto the dock looking around for ships. The lighthouse is going to stand and glow and let the ships see where it is. The fastest way to bring in love, to bring in your soulmate, is to follow the creed that most witches really know. And that is, it's much more effective, unfathomably more effective to work on you than to work on anybody else in the whole world. Because everybody else in the whole world doesn't necessarily want you to be working on them. And our spirits respond when somebody's trying to do spell work to manipulate us. Our spirits have kind of a trigger that happens that starts resisting and pushing back if somebody's doing spell work on us. And it doesn't matter if it's good spell work or bad spell work. Now, if we know they're doing it and we ask them to do it and we know it's coming, we can sit, open all of our chakras, receive that energy, receive that healing energy, receive that invigorating energy, whatever they're sending, because they asked for it and they know it's coming. But when you're working on somebody and they don't know that it's coming, they will resist. So that makes it harder to do work for or about or on somebody else. But you are already a receptive vessel. You are already on board with the plan. You're already excited about this. So work on you, not them. Work on being a soulmate, being a twin flame. If you're a twin flame, burn really brightly so they can see you. You need to glow. Burn those bewitching candles. Get a makeover. Buy a jacket you love. Work on your health so that you're more vibrant. Do the things you need to do to put your light out there in the world. If you're struggling with mental health issues, get help. Find solutions for that. Create a package that you feel good about offering to somebody. Work intently on your life, your career, your family plans, having a home, whatever success looks like to you. Work on being successful. Fix you. And then glow and draw that person to you rather than running out and fervently looking for them or trying to hook them. Be magnetic so that they come to you of their own accord. So work on your self-mastery and you will get so much further, so much faster. And you know what? If you're going to meet your soulmate when you're 65, that's a great thing. That's really wonderful. But that means that that's when you need that person the most. That doesn't mean you should be alone in your 40s. You might have another person who isn't a soulmate, but is just a really good person that enjoys being with you and you enjoy being with them. And you can spend that time with them. So it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. And my suggestion is that you let go of your attachment to the when, and decide, I want it now, or I want it next week. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Let go of that and embrace the idea of forever. That you have now until the end of the world, the end of your life this time, for that person to find you. And it'll be perfect alignment when they do. And meanwhile, you are going to be the best person you can be so that you are so succulent and amazing that there's no question. And so that you're healthy enough to have a good relationship with them that can support another person coming on board. Here's a couple of metaphors because I'm the queen of metaphors. If you put a TV dinner in the oven, but you're really hungry and you want it right now. So you set that oven at 500 degrees. And instead of cooking it for the 25 minutes that it says to cook it, you cook it for 10 because you're at 500 degrees. When you pull that sucker out, parts of it are going to be burned and your potatoes are going to be cold, probably frozen. That is not going to be a delicious meal because you tried to rush it. If you're building a house and you're so excited to have this house that you can't wait to move into it, and you move into it before they put the roof on it, you're not going to be very comfortable in your wonderful new house. You need to wait until this relationship is ready and then trust it'll be there. That's what I've got for today regarding twin flames and soulmates. I hope it was meaningful for you, and I hope that you're all just shining like that beautiful lighthouse. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.